Thank you. I just have a public service announcement before we start the meeting tonight. Case of an emergency, would everyone please exit the chamber, proceeding down the right and left stairwell to the ground floor to allow for emergency personnel to enter. Thank you. At the podium, anyone wishing to speak during the public speaking portion of the meeting, please sign up at the podium. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence. Thank you. Please be seated. We now declare this meeting duly open, August 6th. May I please have a roll call?
Alderman Ventura Morel.
Here.
Alderman Coop.
Here.
Alderman Scott Childress.
Here.
Alderman Worthington.
Here.
Alderman Carey.
Here.
Alderman Davis.
Here.
Alderman O'Reilly.
Here.
Alderman Shabbat.
Excused.
Alderman Schott. Here.
We have a quorum. Can I get a motion to dispense with the minutes of the previous meeting and to approve same?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved, 8-0. Can I get a motion to dispense with the readings of the general bills?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Adopted, 8-0. We will now enter into the public speaking portion of the meeting. So you know, the council has set aside a 30-minute allotment time for this purpose. Please direct all your comments to the council chair, and the alderman cannot debate. And give your name and address for the record. Thank you very much. First speaker, please.
James Richter.
James Richter, 55 Van Buren Street.
It's on the bottom, I think,
Yep.
Jim.
Oh,
On the bottom of the base. Never mind, it's the old
I
one.
pushed that one. Okay, then I had it right. James Richter, 55 Van Buren Street. I see it here at Communications, Alderman Worthington has a removal of handicap sign. I hope it's the one I requested on Van Buren Street, because not only is that one needs to be removed, 2 houses down, there's a greenhouse. Nobody's lived in years, and it's got a handicap there also. The one that, if Miss Worthington's requesting to be removed, there was nobody there either. It's empty house. It's been empty since the owner passed away. Another issue I have is this week on Saturday, we have the executive order by your nephew, Mr. Noble, to have a block party on our street. We've had issues over the years because of these block parties. Last year I was told I was allowed to park on my street because of my disability with my broken leg last year. Well, this year I'll move my 3 cars. I have no problem with that. But Miss Worthington must and should make sure the police come up on our street and remove 2 dead vehicles. One's been there since February. I have never been able to get that removed from the street in the snow emergencies. It's a dead vehicle. It's a red Ford Explorer, sits right in front of the house of the tenant, and it has never moved since February. Now we have one right behind it that is now on floor jacks. Now they're working on it. I expect if I have to remove my cars on Saturday for this stupid block party that nobody wants me to come to, these cars better be removed too Saturday morning. I will be calling the police Saturday morning and demanding it, because I'm sure that's the only way they'll get done. Like I said, this other house has to have the handicap removed. That's an empty house. And I'm requesting that the second house be removed, because in between there's a house that the new homeowner, would like to get a handicap, but she knows if she requests it, there'll be even less parking on that street. So if we can get these other 2 done, she can legitimately, new homeowner, get her own handicap at 27 Van Buren Street. She's a great homeowner. She's going to remodel this beautiful old Victorian home. We need to get these other two handicap removed since nobody lives there. And Saturday, I expect these cars to be removed from out of the street since it's an executive order.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ellen DiFalco.
Ellen DiFalco, 66 Glen Street, Kingston. Council President, Alderman, members of the press, and public. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. Drunk with power or lack thereof. Power to change speed limits throughout the entire city. Have you consulted with your constituents? Have you consulted with our safety officer? Well, for those that don't know already, we don't have one currently on staff. There are distinguishing features of a safety officer, and we are putting the safety of our workforce and our work sites at risk. No money to advertise this professional position on a municipal employment website or a professional journal. I heard our finance chairman last evening say that there was $8 million in contingency, so there's no shortage of funds. You need to post this position in a trade publication, not just on the city's website, to recruit qualified individuals, not just the website or our local newspaper for this unique position. However, whatever the reasoning, that's not what's happening at our civil service office now. At their July commission meeting, the 3 commissioners amended the safety officer specs to safety coordinator, with a deadline for applications due on August 2nd, which was a mere 4 days later. I've never heard of such a thing. In most instances, job postings have a window of at least 15 days. Subsequent to the August 2nd deadline posting, another revision appeared to allow applicants to reply by August 16th. Well, that's wonderful news. But did the commission follow the proper steps to create this new position? And who, may I ask, is the person of interest to be considered for this newly created position? These are questions this council should be asking, or even our local media outlets. Maybe they could do some investigative reporting on their own. So if you follow the steps for the safety coordinator, which will be minus the critical qualifications, they will submit an application by the revised deadline. A provisional appointment may be made and will expire after 9 months. A test will be requested from the State Civil Service Commission, and applicants, including the provisional appointee, will need to pass a test and placed on an eligible list. Well, here's your homework. Who is the person of interest to be considered for this newly created post? Who filled out and signed the reclassification form for the safety coordinator? Who verified the hours worked in the previous titles? One or more of these titles that are non-competitive or competitive. Who signed the new position duty statement with the percentage of work time and description of duties? Who will sign the personnel change form for this new employee. Something does not sit right with me about this, and why is it being pushed through? I have my suspicions, as do others. And if I suspect to be what I suspect to be true, this is job racketeering at its worst, and it needs to be corrected immediately. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Joseph DiFalco.
Thank you, Council President. Joseph DiFalco, and I live at 66 Glen Street. It's a tough act to follow. I have a great deal of ground to cover. All right, I attended that committee meeting at Civil Service. And let me tell you, it was disgraceful. Okay? I've been in construction for 40 years, and a safety officer is a sought-after position. And we never had any problem filling that position. When I got an answer from your civil service director, we can't find anybody, we advertised in the Freeman and put it online. Doctors don't look for jobs in the Freeman. We got no money to advertise anywhere. Yes, you do. You got plenty of money. Do it into department transfer and get some money to advertise it in a proper venue. That being said, I'll move on to your speed limit. It's the most ridiculous. What I heard last night, you missed it, Jimmy. I heard him say power, power, power at least 40 times. That we have the power. You have the power to do what? To screw the citizens of the city? You change the speed limit, it's like a domino effect. You change the fines, okay, where now, oh, that's much better. All I heard him is try to keep this alive, this reducing the speed limit. The committee wasn't for it. They were against. He didn't allow him to put it to a vote. I would have died in committee if he allowed the vote. The councilmen were apprehensive about even doing it. But he kept it alive. You know why he kept it alive? He's a snake oil salesman for the mayor or whoever he is. He has done I lived in Ward 3 for 50 years. And this man is the worst council person I've ever had. Okay? He has done absolutely nothing for anybody in that ward. Oh, excuse me. He filled a pothole while he was on vacation. Okay? Talk about speeding. Glen Street is the worst street in the city for speeding. I've lived there 40 years, and you know what, Jimmy? One ticket was issued. One in 40 years. Okay? It's disgraceful. Okay? Another thing. If it's possible, I will get legal counsel to stop any development up on that up on that hill. Okay? We have all the papers. They were supposed to put an intersection on 32. But it's easier to buffalo and bully the residents than to put $1 million light on 32. Okay? They put in, we'll go back to the safety officer. They put in the qualifications for the safety officer needs to have a year's experience working underneath a supervisor. Okay? Who is working there now? And who is working out of classification? I once asked you to do a desk audit on this person. How they can write $35 million worth of grants. Okay? And get paid 50% of the time or whatever time they put into it. Okay? I wish I could focus on everything that's being done here. But you are not going to change anything. When you can't enforce 30 miles an hour, you're not going to enforce 25. And you have the authority to put up a sign, 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. You don't need to change the law to do that. It's done all over the place. Okay? This is a feel-good resolution. It's nothing more than all the feel-good resolutions Ward 3 aldermen promoted. Every one of them. He hasn't done anything for anybody. He's going to kill the deer. He's going to put out poison to sterilize the animals. Are you crazy? Okay, I witnessed this at a ward meeting. Okay? Go and buy some deer repellent for $10, okay? And they'll stay away. I have the same plants. They eat my plants. They don't eat my plants because I take care of them. And then the deer learn of creatures' habit. They don't come near them. I have arborvitaes. This is what they eat. Okay? I don't want to go into your past. You're cooking up the budget, having $3.5 million in surplus in the budget, having corporate counsel, corruption counsel burying charges for 2 years, okay? Making civil matters political, costing the city hundreds of thousands of dollars. This is the most corrupt administration I've seen, and I've been here under Satile's administration. Every meeting, every council meeting, everywhere. Okay? You had a finance committee meeting. I called it a cover-up meeting. You had to buy down the fund balance because you were being audited. And you had too much money in it. You had 18% of the budget in the fund balance. It was no good. We got to get rid of that money. What are we going to do with it? We'll buy chicken wings, cash, boom, take it out of the fund balance. Okay? We'll pave the streets, cash, take it out of the fund balance. Okay? We'll amortize the pension fund, take it out of the fund balance. TUI, I think we're good now. I think we get away with it. This is what goes on at your finance committee meeting. Okay? I don't know if you were there, Jimmy, but that's what took place. Okay? Whether you gave John Tui that $19,000 raise to keep his mouth shut or to serve yous or whatever, this all took place around that same period when that budget was cooked. Okay? I'm glad that you got fake news over there that doesn't mention a word about it. They know it was done. They skirted what? 6 months, they found $2.5 million in surplus. That was the last you heard of it. Because you buried it in the fund balance for 2 years till you started buying it down. Oh, and 6, there's still nobody at the park. It's been 9 months. I check it 3 times a day, okay? When he insisted somebody uses the fireman's park. Nobody uses that park. It looks great, though, and it's great for events, and I like it. but nobody uses it. Okay, I'll be here next month. I'll be at the committee meetings, okay? I'm not going away, okay? And that's what you do. You can't enforce 30. How are you going to enforce 25? Disgraceful. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Any other speakers? No. Does anyone else in the audience like to address the council at this time? Seeing no one, I now declare the public speaking portion of the meeting closed. We will now enter into claims and communications. Hearing no discussion, they'll be on file in the clerk's office. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the general bills and pay same?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The bills are paid 8-0. We now enter into report of committees. Resolution number 156.
Resolution 156 of 2019. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a budgetary transfer from contingency to the 2019 police budget to cover the cost of a traffic safety campaign.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to
Resolution 157 of 2019. Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a budgetary transfer in the 2019 Parks and Recreation Department budget to cover the expense of the Cdbg improvements scheduled at the Everette Hodge Center as per attached.
on the question. Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 158.
Resolution 158 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing a budgetary transfer in the 2019 planning budget to cover anticipated overtime expenses.
On the question, Alderman Childress.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to thank Alderwoman Schott for working very hard on this. This is going to allow the KPD to work to help our citizens understand the importance of following our traffic safety laws. At our current manning level in that department, we don't have enough officers to provide traffic safety a lot of the time, only some of the time. And because this project is mainly educational in nature, I think it'll go far, and I'm hoping it'll serve as a model for us to consider as we look forward to increasing the awareness of our citizens about the importance of traffic safety and the importance of people being conscious and courteous on our city streets. Thank you.
Anyone else on the question? Hearing no one else, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 159.
Resolution 159 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, authorizing the implementation and funding in the first instance 100% of the federal aid and state Projecï program aid eligible costs of a transportation federal aid project and appropriating funds therefor.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 160.
Resolution 160 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, to create an expendable trust account to receive $150,000 from K&R Landmark for work to be performed in the public right-of-way to improve traffic and pedestrian accessibility, ingress and egress near and at the intersection of 1 Albany Avenue.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 161.
Resolution 161 of 2019, Resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, requesting the State of New York to allow the City of Kingston to have the authority to establish a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit.
On the question, Alderman Scott Childress, and then Alderman Davis.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion from the floor, if I may. I understand some of the council members are somewhat concerned about some issues relating to this, so I think there's no harm in sending it back to committee. So I'd like to move that we send this particular issue back to committee for further consideration, particularly since the chair of that particular committee was not able to be here last night or tonight. And I think it's important to have everyone at the table, everyone feeling somewhat comfortable with this before we go forward.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second to refer back to
I'll
committee?
second that.
Okay, we have on the question to refer back. Hearing no discussion, I'm going to call.
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is referred back 8-0. We now go to resolution number 162.
Resolution 162 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, to adopt a policy for referral of traffic control devices and parking controls in the City of Kingston.
On the question, Alderman Schott, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to make a motion to amend Section 2. In place of what is written, I would like it to say, the city assigns the issue with a number and is referred to the city engineer for evaluation with notice to the Common Council President and City Clerk. This was discussed at caucus last night, and I feel like the council was in agreement with this. So I'd like to make a motion to amend that.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, we're just going to read the amended part, and then we'll vote on the amended part, and then we'll vote for the whole resolution. Yes. So she's going to read number 2, the amended part.
Number 2, the city assigns the issue with a number and is referred to the city engineer for evaluation with notice to the Common Council President and City Clerk.
Alderman. Andrew. What? Not stated, though.
Just so you know, this deals with the procedure of the resolution more than the actual resolution. So that's the part we're amending. You read it? Everybody good? Alderman Childress?
Yes, Mr. President, I'd just like to ask that we add the word "it" after the word "and," so that the word "it" is referring to the issue, so that it would read, the city assigns the issue with a number and "it" is referred to the city engineer.
I wasn't there yesterday, so I don't know what this.
Okay, so we're going to vote on the original one, and then you can make your amendment to change that wording. Okay? Anyone else on the amended wording? Well, we're doing it. Anyone else? No? Okay, I'm going to call for the vote of the first amended statement that you said, number 2, in procedure. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's amended 8-0. Now we have Alderman Childress wants to amend that amendment with,
Add the word "it" after "and," so that it clearly refers to the word "issue."
okay.
Second.
Well, let me get a second. Can I get a second on that?
Second.
And we have a second, Alderman Davis. Okay, read it one more time with the new "it" in it.
Number 2, the city assigns the issue with a number and "it" is referred to the city engineer for evaluation with notice to the Common Council President and City Clerk.
Thank you. Any questions on the new amended sentence? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote of the new amendment. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's adopted 8-0. So now we're going to vote on the resolution as amended. On the question. Any discussion? Alderman Schott.
This procedure, this engineering procedure, is part of our traffic safety campaign that we've had going for a couple months here, and this will just give the city a uniform approach on traffic control devices as we move forward. So I just want to thank my colleagues for
Can you guys hear
going
her?
through this, and I thank you for all your support.
President.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Alderman Worthington.
Yes, could I just say something about this?
Oh, absolutely.
I just want to just make sure, I know that it says that it's going to, with notice to the Common Council President. Does that then mean that the alderman will still be on that communication as well? Or should we also add that it will also be on
Well,
notice to the...
myself personally, I'd make sure that you receive a copy of every communication or any information I get from any department.
Okay, just wanted to clarify.
Yep, no problem. Anyone else? Before I call for Alderman Scott Childress.
Again, I would like to thank Alderwoman Schott for this, for her spearheading the traffic issues in general. This is one of the most important issues that we deal with in Kingston. It's one that we hear from our constituents all the time. And in trying to develop appropriate ways of dealing with the traffic safety issues in town, I know that she's put a lot of work into this, a lot of thought, and it shows particularly in this process. By developing this process, we create a very nice administrative stream. We make it possible for the citizens of Kingston to feel like when they have concerns, we go directly to the experts. We're able to think both within the manual of approved devices, but also I think we'll be able to be somewhat creative in thinking from some of the more recent ways of dealing with traffic safety issues. So I think that her work has really pushed us forward in this process, and I look forward to more success on this in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Alderman Davis.
I just want to clarify, because I wasn't there yesterday, I apologize, but constituents are, they're going to be able to get this off the city website? Is that how they're going to get this form, or do they go to a department to get this form?
I'm not sure about that. Alderman Schott, do you have any answer for that?
Yeah, well, we've been working not only with the city engineer, but the Department of Public Works, the Corporation Council, and Kyle from IT. So this will be digital on the website, but we could discuss if we want to have it, and I'm sure it wouldn't be a problem to have hard copies in certain departments too.
So I would request that not only is it digital, because not everybody's familiar with that, that we have these forms available in one department in the city hall where they can come in and get this. And that needs to be clarified on the website or in our communication, that they're able to get it off the website, but also be able to come to a particular department to be able to pick up this form.
I believe myself personally, if they came to the clerk's office, they would just download them the copy and give it to them, so.
Right. So I would just like to make that motion that this be in hard copy, you know, at the city clerk's office as well as on the website.
May I request if Corporation Council could say, does that need to be part of the procedure that we need to say in here that we have a hard copy, or can we just do that? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else before I call for the vote? Hearing no one else, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The resolution is adopted as amended, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 163.
Resolution 163 of 2019, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, repealing 1-hour parking on Tenbrook Avenue.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 164.
Resolution 164 of 2019, an ordinance amending an ordinance in relation to traffic on the public streets of the city of Kingston, New York, repealing handicap parking on Progress Street.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. We now move to resolution number 166.
165.
5.
Resolution 165 of 2019, resolution of the City of Kingston Common Council declaring the City of Kingston as lead agency for the Henry Street Safe Routes to School project in the State Environmental Review Quality Review Act seeker process pursuant to 6 NYCRR Part 617.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. Now we move to resolution 166.
Resolution 166 of 2019, resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston, New York, detailing the responsibilities and tasks of the New York State DOT OPRHP and the City of Kingston for construction and maintenance of the Empire State Trail in Kingston, and authorizing the execution of the maintenance agreement by the mayor.
On the question? Hearing no discussion, I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is adopted, 8-0. That concludes the committee reports for this evening. Is there anyone like to adjourn in anyone's memory before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Alderman
I'd like
O'Reilly.
to, thank you, Jim. I'd like to say a few words about Edward Feeney. Mr. Feeney was a funny man. Always had a poignant thing to say in every situation. He was a great judge in town here. He was a city judge, and he enacted a wonderful program that other counties did not have, and he was the first one to do this, and it was called the drug court. And when people came into his court, he was a very sensible man. He was a very nice man. He was a very understanding person. And when people came into his court and they were addicted to drugs, and that was the reason that they were incarcerated, he saw that our justice system was putting these people in jail when actually what they needed was help. And they needed drug counseling. And he did that for our citizens. And that legacy has continued on. But he was a pioneer in that understanding that these addicted people needed true help, and that jail was not the answer. So he was ahead of his time, and I'll always remember him as a close friend. I was a very close friend to his family, and he will be truly missed.
Excuse me. Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing no one else? Oh, wait a minute. I have one other thing before I adjourn. Next September 3rd is our scheduled meeting night, and that's like in the Labor Day weekend. Do you want to postpone it a week, or do you want to leave it there? Because Monday, the building's closed. So it would be Tuesday, caucus, council, plus people go away, whatever. It's up to you guys. What do you think?
I would like to propose, defer to the following week.
Okay. Can I get a consensus on that? Yes? Anyone opposed to that? Okay, so we're going to do it on the second week of September.
September 9th.
September 9th, at Monday, and then the following Tuesday. Okay, and while I'm on this, I believe November is election night. Do you want to meet on election night, or do you want to postpone? I don't think you guys do. It doesn't matter to me, but... All right, Bill, me and you, it doesn't matter. Rest of the year might.
I'm not thinking that far ahead.
Move it back. Okay, is everybody good with that then? We're going to move that back also?
Be the 11th.
Just so everybody knows, the 11th would be Veterans Day, that Monday for caucus, but if that, so everybody knows that.
Monday is caucus, you're open on Veterans Day? No. So in November, you'd have to do caucus early, council the same day? Or Friday, you could do Friday caucus, however you want to do it. Okay, so we're going to move the council meeting and we'll decide on the caucus. Well, you'll decide on the caucus. That's the majority leader's job.
Have caucus the Monday, the same Monday, and not change that, and then just change the council. Is that too long for people to remember things?
Okay.
All right.
Mr. President, just to clarify, what date are we now saying the council meeting will be?
For which month?
September.
September is going to be on the 9th, right? Is that the
Okay.
Tuesday?
For September 10th for council.
10th is the council, and the 9th is caucus.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Okay, hearing no other discussions, Alderman O'Reilly.
I'd like to say one more thing about Judge Feeney. Judge Feeney married me in my living room with my wife, and he did a wonderful ceremony, and I will never forget that, and I love that man. Thank you.
Hearing no one else, I'm going to call for a vote to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hereby stand adjourned until September 10th. Thank you very much.